That's what I can do. I'm sorry. I'm thinking out loud.
Well, welcome everybody to Breaking the Silence. You have a voice. I am your host, Lady V, and we have a show for you today. Wow, this is already time is flying because we're already at the end of January. But I mean, it's been a great month for me. I'm sure for everyone. We want to welcome all of our viewers, the Caribbean Jammers, everyone in Ghana, and our Facebook viewers and YouTube viewers. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. And before we get started, I want to welcome our other host. We have Dr. Yvonne Bennett looking, I love the makeup. It's looking really pretty on you, Mom. That looks great. Beautiful. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Going through some dental
Okay.
situations, but I'm doing well.
Good, good. And we have Pastor AT in the house. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well, no issues. I'm a little bit lighter than the last time y'all saw me, down about 15 pounds or so, and I'm still grinding, trying to get all of this. So if I'm losing it, y'all can find it. So
Yes,
Mm-mm,
yes.
mm-mm.
Well, that is awesome. And we have Pastor Mel. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good.
Yes,
Everything
ma'am.
going well at the ministry?
Everything is going well. Look, thank God.
I like that gender reveal that you did for my up and coming grandbaby
Oh, that was
when we Kyle in the house.
awesome. Kyle, yeah, that was really
Yes,
nice. That was
I'm
really,
loving it.
really
I'm loving
nice.
it. I like being a grandma. It's pretty
Great
cool.
I
grand.
don't blame you. Yeah,
And a great
exactly.
grandma.
Great
That's
grand.
right. Keep them
Yes,
coming. Keep them coming. And
exactly.
last but not least, we have Dr. Isaac Davis. How you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great, great. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
That it's funny when we did the gender reveal. We had did a pre set up to make sure everything worked, and it is just so amazing about technology. Everything worked fine when we did the test and got to the live feed. That joker was like, "I don't feel like working right now." So yes, but I'm glad. If as you see, I'm not traveling. I'm at my parents' house, so
Well, I'm
yeah.
trying to figure out where you at, where it's light.
Hey, I'm in the South.
Oh, okay, got
I'm
you,
in it.
got
I'm in the Central Time Zone.
you. Okay, yeah, I understand. I just came from that. All right, all right.
Yes.
What's the weather like? Because it was cold.
Oh, it was 60 degrees here today.
Oh, nice,
Wow.
nice. Well, it wasn't too bad here either. So
Yes.
we needed a nice day before we get
We
some more
really
snow.
did.
Yeah. Well, last year, was it last year? Because these years are going by so fast. We had a lot of things happen, and um, I believe it was in DC, and they had came up with this saying on the strip, and it was Black Lives Matter, and I was like, okay, okay. But then, when I started thinking about it, I said, Black lives, they do matter. But what about all lives matter? Because I think that sometimes, you know, because of certain things, and I don't take away from the things that happen, but when we look at discrimination, it goes further than African American people. It reaches Caucasian people. It reaches people who are handicapped. It reaches people from other countries. It's so wide span. It's not just Black Lives Matter because you have other people that deal with discrimination as well. And so I wanted to open it up because all next month we're going to be talking about discrimination and, in honor of Black History Month. But I wanted to kick it off and talk about it. So I'm going to open up the floor. I hope that our viewers, please feel free to make comments in the comment box. But um, Pastor AT, you look like you already got something to say.
well, I mean, this is a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and I really did a lot of research on this particular thing. And I think when the people say Black Lives Matter, they're saying it because it is a cry for help. Because when you consider everyone, and one side doesn't, it's not being treated what they believe is fairly because of certain abuse, and actually the statistics kind of back that when you see that they're more likely to be arrested in certain situations with cops and different things like that. Um, the people want to say, hey, well, you have an issue with your own community, you should take care of your own community. 92% of murders for African Americans are killed are by African Americans, but then they negate the fact that 82% of white homicides are done by white people. And so when you look at certain things, you start to isolate that there are some issues, and there are the information that is put out as far as from the judges, as far as the juries and those type of things are not the same. One person commits rape and behind a dumpster gets caught or whatever, and then the judge throws that out and says that he still has his life ahead of him. Another person doesn't even have the same situation and their life in prison. It's not the same. It's not equal. So when you say all lives matter, that implies that things are equal when it's not. And so what they're saying is, I need you to identify, yes, all lives matter, but all lives are not going to really matter unless you look inside all of them and make sure that the Black lives are included in that. So
I hear what you're saying.
Well, go ahead, Pastor Melanie.
No, and I do hear what you're saying, and I agree with you, Lady V. All lives do matter. We have so much, and I'm echoing what you were saying too, Pastor AT. We have a lot of black on black crime. My thing is, okay, we need to get ourselves together and respect one another. And don't get me wrong, you do have black people are not treated fairly. No, we are not. You do see a difference. You totally do. And all lives do matter, but and it is, like I said, there is a difference in how blacks are treated, whites are treated, Hispanics are treated, Asians are treated, Indians are treated. And I look at the crime that just happened. I think it was last week, where this lady, Asian lady, was at the subway, and this white guy pushed her on the tracks. And thank God the train stopped in enough time. But my thing is, if I see we are protesting, we need to go into the community and protest as well, and try and bring everybody together instead of having division amongst one another. And then let us come together so that we can protest and be strong in the Black Lives Matter.
But okay, let's look at this portion of it, right? What we don't realize that in the 60s and even back in the 40s, there were some decisions that were made that affects us even on today. When they started giving out housing loans, they said that these loans can go to the middle class Americans, but they only applied the people who got the loans were for middle class white men who were getting the loans. When black people decided to get the loans, didn't let them have it. What that ended up happening is, by you having a house in the sense of ownership, you have some type of stable environment. You have wealth. You can actually loan off of that to send your kids to school. So now you got a generation of, all because of that one event right there, you have people going to college and furthering their education. And now we're 2 or 3 generations behind, and we're just now getting to the point where where we have all this home ownership. The rules are not the same. So when you look at the communities and how they're shaped up, it doesn't work in our benefit. I had an issue where I was talking to my wife, and a lady tried to sell her some WIC tickets or something like that, or food stamps. And the lady said she had like 8 kids or whatever. And I said, I guarantee you there's probably not a husband in that household, because the system is designed that the more money you get for having, the more children you have, the more money you get. And as soon as you get married, those numbers drop. So they make it so that it's in their benefit financially to not have a man or a stable a lifestyle. But what happens if you don't have a husband or a father figure those children grow up without stability. I preached a whole message on the need for a father and fathers want it. And it is legit. It is not even a biblical thing. The numbers show that having a father in the home helps out with your the way the child thinks, the way their stability, even their weight loss, their obesity. Having that father helps out as far as their ability to move into the generation. So when we talk about the community and why certain things are happening and why we can't really get to those issues because those issues were created by things that were put in place that weren't from Black people. Over.
No, I was waiting for somebody else to say something before I say what I was gonna say.
You
Because
know,
I don't want to hog or be like y'all don't have nothing to say, but I was giving everybody else an opportunity.
you
Well, I
know,
just want to say that with as far as and I totally agree with everything that was said with Black lives, and Black lives do matter, but all lives do matter, and especially from children. Discrimination started way back then with parents discriminating against their children because you didn't have long hair, because you weren't a certain color or a certain tone, and that grows up in people. So this discrimination thing, like someone said, like Pastor Mel said, we need to get it together, regardless who accepts us as Black people. We need to learn how to accept ourselves. We need to learn how to accept one another for who they are and be helpers unto one another instead of being jealous or envious of what somebody else has. You're the same complexion that I am. You're from the same African American race that I am. So don't be jealous. If you're not where I am, help me. I'll help you get further than where you are. And I believe that what you sow, you will reap. So this discrimination thing started way, way, way back. And we know all about slavery, but it didn't stop there. It went right and filtered right into households.
But I think that also when you look at discrimination, it goes, it's so, we always look at it as color, but it's
Right.
everything.
it's
It's
Everything.
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 it's
Everything.
it's education, it's socialism, it's social background. Because a lot of times when you even look at people who go in for interviews, people already, they have a certain type of person that they're looking for.
Yeah.
They may not hire a person if they have children. They may not
Right.
hire a person if
Right.
they're overweight. Everybody in this, I believe, this is just me, I believe in some way, shape, or form, we have all fallen into some type of discrimination.
Yes.
And we may not have done it intentionally, but we've done it because of ignorance. We assume that when we see someone, and this is the amazing thing, we can see an African American man and he could be walking down the street and he may not be all that polished or whatever, and we relate that to well, he got to be from the hood. But you can see, but you'll see a Caucasian man or an Asian man, and I'm gonna tell you, nobody dresses up for work anymore. It amazes me when people drop their kids off what they have on. I be like, oh, well, you going to a real job? Because I say it. I'm like, well, where are these people going? But they're, because the time has changed where you don't have to be the way you used to be. But we never look at them and go, they're from the hood, or they're from here, or they have to be poor, or they have. So we look at people and we have a way of discriminating against not just our own, but just people in general.
Yes.
We're like, we already have I guess a thought process of how they are without even talking to the person. We have certain people that we'll go and we'll feel comfortable in speaking to. Oh, well, they look like they got COVID. I ain't going over there and talking to them. I've heard people say the craziest thing because they really feel that way. They may see a person and they may not be as polished as the other person, so they don't go over and feel as comfortable and shaking their hand or saying something to them, but the person that has on the whole outfit or whatever, and they look in and they, oh, okay, well, they look good. So
Right.
we do it. Everybody does it. If you see a person that's driving a Mercedes and you see a person that's driving a hoopty, you automatically assume that that person that has the Mercedes, they have money.
Yeah. Hmm.
No, you're absolutely right.
And it's true. It's true. It's true. It's discrimination, no matter how you look at it. Everybody has experienced some form of discrimination, whether it was towards them or whether they've done it. But it's even in ministry. It's
Yes.
even in ministry, because there are some people. I mean, I'm looking at all these spaces. I've fellowshipped and been in ministry with Pastor At and with Dr. Isaac and with Pastor Mel and with Lady V and myself. But we would not be invited to a quote unquote mega ministry because we're not renowned, so to speak. So that's another form of discrimination. It's in ministry as well.
You
But
know,
I
you know,
go ahead, Isaac. I'm sorry.
when I think of the term "all lives matter," Lady V, you get me. There we go. When I think of the term "all lives matter" and how that affects everybody as a whole, actually, you have to go back in history and I get an understanding of the history first. So we look at history. Slavery lasted 246 years.
Right.
246 years that Black Americans worked for free. 246 years where our identity was taken away from us.
Mm-hmm.
246 years, all of our traditions, all of our values, all everything that we did within our culture was stripped away from us. So when we look at how laws were created and and why they was created, remember a time period that it was against the law for a black to even learn how to read.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, why could we not read? They didn't want us to read because they didn't want us
Ignorant.
to understand what was
Right.
happening. So so when you look at it that way, I think of all lives matter. All lives don't matter until you go back and change the laws that were made
Mm-hmm.
to keep us out of to keep us in what's the word I'm looking for? Um
Bondage.
bondage. Yes, there we go. So a lot of these laws have to be changed. And it's amazing how that even today some states are today just now starting to change laws that were written that were still lawful, but they was written during those times. Um, but when I think about that, we have to go back and change and also take responsibility for what has happened. You look at Florida. Florida's governor has now signed a bill that states that the critical race theory cannot be taught because they feel that they are making the white race feel
Mm-hmm.
bad for what they did in slavery. No, it's not making you feel bad. It is teaching what the true history is. I can recall my entire schoolage from elementary school all the way through college. How often is the truth history, the truth of history taught? Even though it's there
Right.
in our face,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Hmm.
right there, and it's only been about 2 or 3 years since they finally admitted that Christopher Columbus did not find America.
Mm-hmm.
So so you have to go back and change history, and white America does not want that history to be corrected. Every single thing that Black Americans did, the white man actually took it away from us.
Well,
Hmm.
here's another piece. And
Um,
oh, somebody else?
yeah,
Pastor Mel.
yeah.
Maybe.
And so here we go talking about Black Lives Matter, and I was saying we need to get ourselves together. When you look at other races, They come together, they're united. When you look at Asians, they will pile up in a house,
Yes.
get themselves together. Don't well, I don't know if they complain or not, but they will get one house. You have a ton of them who will pile up until they get together, and then they end up going in business together. But one thing with Black people,
Hmm.
anytime we are in business with one another, it's always like, you, oh, you think you better. It is criticism, and then it's like one gets jealous, or then they'll end up trying to kill what the person they came in business together with, they will try to kill. It's like a crab. Everybody's trying to climb up the ladders, but there's times where Black people are not willing to help other Black people get ahead, to move forward. It's like, if I see you going forward, no, 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 I need to pull you back because I need to go before you do, instead of us pushing each other at the same time.
Well,
But
I
Mel,
think
what
that it used to be where we were able to say that slavery divided us. And
Hmm.
initially it did. It caused our race of people definitely to be
Hmm.
divided. But when we look at now, because I'm gonna look at now, we're in we have a different opportunity than we did before. Education is more afforded to us, jobs are more afforded to us, homes, neighborhoods, places that maybe my parents and our parents couldn't go. We have more doors that are open now than before, but there are requirements that come with that. And it's something that you just said, Pastor Mel. We are not willing to help each other. We want everybody else to help us. We blame everything on the white man. We do. We say, oh, it's white people's fault that
but
we this and this.
but
But
it's
the bottom
true.
line is, we could say that from years ago, but and I'm not saying that there's still not a large level of discrimination, but we also have to look at where we are now, because we have education. I don't know about y'all, but I look at TV. Do you realize that we own, I'm gonna just say, we own about a good 30-40% of networks. It used to be where you never saw us on Lifetime. You never saw us on so many different stations. We own it now. So that means that even in the entertainment field, we have more of an opportunity. We always had it with sports, but the entertainment world, it's so different. Is it where it should be? Mm, not altogether, but it is a major, major breakthrough and an opportunity. So we have to come away from, well, it's these set of people holding me down. We have opportunity. We don't have to go to the Asian people to get our nails and hair and feet done. Hello, we are some gifted people. But here's the thing. If I tell you that this is my great idea, the only problem is you gonna hate me and you gonna tear it down. We hold our own selves down because we should be doing our own. What they know about weave? Come on, y'all. What do they know about eyelashes? What do they know about black beauty? They ain't black. But we have to go to them and buy our hair products. Why? Because we haven't figured out how to join forces, get our money together, go open up some beauty supply stores, own the beauty supply stores, and put it back in our community, because we're the people that buy it. Why do we have to go
Right.
outside of our community? Soul food. What they know about soul food? Hello. Why do I have to go to the Asian community to get some fried chicken and some chitlins and some whatever else? What they know about that? They don't know nothing about soul food, but they have figured us out. So
Yep.
we will go to them instead of going to our own people, because this is what we say. Oh, well, no, I ain't going to them. Because anytime we come up with a good idea, anytime we come up with a business plan, we are so quick to tear each other down. We'll pass our own people and go to somebody else, and we would rather put our money into their community instead of us putting it back into our own community.
Mm-hmm.
But V, you made a very valid point. Because I have been one to always wonder why hasn't Black Wall Street been recreated,
Rebuilt. Correct.
and well, not recreated but rebuilt. I've
Rebuilt.
always wondered
Mm-hmm.
that. Now I do know in Atlanta, Georgia, I think it's in Lithonia, they just started they started a new Black Wall Street shopping center where it's all Black owned. Um, I definitely agree that when you say that we have to get to a point that we rebuild within our own selves first. I look at Jewish. The Jewish spend their money within the Jewish community 7 times before they ever leave their community, and for us to be what 40% of the population. I think we're 40% now, maybe around about 38. So don't quote me on it.
13.
Well, huh?
Only 13.
Okay, so we're 13% of the United States population, but we spend the most money.
Exactly.
So
Mm.
why can't that money be spent within the 13%?
Because
Okay,
we
Why?
don't
so
trust each other.
Why?
Here's the
So
thing.
so
We'll
and
look
then
at we'll
and
look
then
at we'll
right.
look at Jemiah, who has her own, for instance, nail shop, and it'll be glamorous and everything, and we'll walk right by. Nah, because they expensive. They always trying to take advantage of our people. But we'll go to the other community and we'll spend a good $200 there, but we won't give it to our own people because we always think that our people are trying to get over.
I
That's
don't.
right.
Okay, let me jump in. A couple things because I've been sitting on this. One, one, there were 9 Black Wall Streets back after the Reconstruction age. You had your first Black politicians that came in after the Reconstruction age. One of the number one insurance company was owned by a black man after the Reconstruction age. They had their own hospitals after the Reconstruction age.
Mm-hmm.
You know why people are upset? White people are upset about all those statues that came down because they built them around 1920, 1912. You know why they came in 1912? Because black people started to come together, pull their money together, have some of the most money and everything, and they destroyed it because
They
they
did.
hated them. And so every time, we're talking about achievements, but these are achievements by the ones and twos. These are not community achievements like they had back in the 1870s and 1880s. Now, the other reason why we don't have the same culture as the Asians and all them, because they weren't brought over here on a boat in chains. They still have their culture. We're African Americans, we're African, but we don't have any African culture. We don't have none of that. So that's the reason why we don't connect with each other like we should, because we don't have the same roots and structures. Latinos, Jews, all those people you name have something that we don't have. They have a culture to fall back on, and we have a lost heritage. So when you say let's come together, it's a problem because we don't have nothing to stand on other than the skin color. And so what happens is everybody tries to get what they can while they can. And ultimately, what has to happen is this is how you get rid of discrimination. And let me just say this, and I taught it earlier this week. When we come to the realization that everybody in your ethnicity group, who you see, no matter who they are, is no more than 15th cousin to you. That means if you're black, everybody that you see, you can go down to the line 15 generations and you'll find a common ancestor. The truth is, anybody you see outside of your ethnicity group, you only have to go no more than 50. That means that everybody is near kin and closely related. Once human beings begin to realize we're not white, we're not black, we're just really one human race, and we're actually closer in lineage than we realize, you wouldn't be killing your brother. So just like we protect each other because we all look the same, once we realize that we're not that far apart, and that really the common difference, the only unity that we have is that we're not that far apart from each other anyway. So every one of us here, no matter who you see, has a near kin, whoever you see out there. I think that ultimately will begin to have all lives matter. But before that happened, it is a cultural thing. These guys were bred to hate black people, and it just don't go away after 100 years. Just some of their grandparents was just watering down people, and great grandparents just watering down your grandparents and great grandparents. So you don't tell me that stuff disappears after just 60 years. It's still in the community. And just because a couple of people get it together and they doing well or whatever, imagine if all of us came together. I believe the hate is still there. I believe the hate is still there. That if we started doing anything like they were doing back in 1870 and 1880s and 1890s, we will have another thing where the Jim Crow comes in, because they don't necessarily, until they get healed, they don't want us to come together.
That's good, Pastor AT. That's good. That's good. And that is, there's absolutely a lot of truth to that, because we don't realize that we are all connected in some sort of way. And the thing is, our people, we don't have a connection to who we are. That's why we walk around and we're constantly difficult, and we don't even want to give to our own family members, our own children, we won't invest in anything. We'll have something, and one of our family members can come to us with a complete business plan, laid out blueprint, and nobody will invest in that. They'll be like, I'm not doing this. Oh, these people, they trying to take my money. And it's like, but if they have a plan and it makes sense, why won't we invest in it? Why won't we put our money into it? Because the thing that we don't have is, like you said, we don't have the cultural connection. It's every man for itself, and it's been that way with our culture for a long time. It's okay. Well, you do you, I'm gonna do me. Everybody else, you got the Asian people, you got mama son, papa son, baby son, everybody works together. You got the little people that start working at 10 years old. They done taught them how to work behind the register and everything. But we're not going to do that, because the biggest thing is we don't trust each other.
And that's true. And it's all about that one word that out of all that Pastor AT said, is that connection. The Asians have the connection. When they open up a business, like you said, they live in one little space, a whole lot of them. But the next thing you know, 5, 6, 7 businesses have come out of that one group of people. But they hire their own people. And the same with Mexicans. Mexicans are rising up. They hire their own people. And I learned a lot from the Amish people. The Amish people hire their own people. Those people are very wealthy, and people don't look at them. Talking about stigmatizing and discrimination, we look at them because they're always in the same uniform. The ladies got on the same little cap. Those people are very, very wealthy. I live in an Amish area, and I'm telling you, they have purchased everything down here, building up the large buildings. I'm trying to figure out where in the world are they getting the money. And there's African Americans, and there's Jewish, and there's this and that. But the Amish people have purchased all these large buildings and building them up. So it's true. We don't have a connection. As soon as we see one African American person or family prospering, we deviate instead of going to help them and to build up what they have. We'll deviate. We'll go and we'll either duplicate or we'll do nothing.
And that's true. And another thing too, is that when I look at it, and other cultures are willing to work at the bottom. They're willing to do whatever it takes. If I got to clean floors, if I got to clean the toilets, if I got to do this or that, I will do that until I can do better. A lot of times with Black people, we want to already be here without being here. And it's sometimes we have to, as far as getting ahead and doing better for our culture and one another, sometimes we need to start at the bottom. We need to humble ourselves and know when this is not going to always be like this. I'm doing this. It's temporary. I'm doing this so that I can get here, you know, and just taking one step at a time. And we need to get more into that instead of, because we won't take them jobs. Here in Northern Virginia area, you have nothing but Hispanics that working at fast food restaurants. You
Mhm.
have
Yeah.
definitely McDonald's, you know, but here it is. It's like, okay, we're the black people. Oh, I'm not doing that. I ain't
Right,
taking out no job.
right,
You know, always complaining, and that's
right,
not what it's about.
right. You have to
And
start somewhere.
if you're pulling your incomes together, it makes it easier to have those
Right.
take those low income jobs
Yes,
because
that is
somebody
true.
else is paying for the house. I got a right down the street from us, one of the houses that me and my wife were even looking at. They had remodeled it, and there's probably like has to be like at least 4 or 5 people. Got 4 or 5 trucks out there, and they all do like some type of construction business stuff like that.
Hmm.
The point that I wanted to interject was that the one reason why stuff costs more in the African American community is that we don't have the connections like some people do. We don't know where you go to get it at offhand prices to where you can make a profit. So I'm not getting they're getting it cheaper than you are. So your price has to be more in order for you to stay in business. The other
Mhm.
thing is because of the laws that I mentioned, as far as the housing laws, the perpetual income that has been established right now is that people have money that they can invest 20 grand in their children. It don't have to be somebody don't have to die. I had a friend of mine, let me say this and I'm jump out. I had a friend of mine about 10 years ago. He was like in his early 20s, an IT guy. His parents had given him a loan. Not even, I don't even know if it was a loan. They just gave him like 25,000 just to start off with and to do his career and all that kind of stuff. And now he's well established. We don't have those type things. And one thing is, it reminds us what Bishop was teaching years ago, that scripture says you leave an inheritance to your children's children. Most African Americans, they leave it to their children, and those guys just burning and spending and wasted. But if we did right, if we really want to change something in our communities, we will leave our inheritance to our grandchildren. And then as our children get older, they leave it to their grandchildren. And then that's where you have that extra money coming in, that perpetual wealth. And that's really, it's a biblical principle how we should probably start coming out of these certain situations and be
Yes, I
established.
But
agree.
the thing is, there's such a go back to the disconnect that we even have to forget leaving something. There's not even a connection in our, with a lot of us when it comes to just um the generations to the next generation to the next. So they're not going to leave something because they don't understand them. They don't.
They think
I'm not.
they're gonna waste it.
A lot of people, they're like, I'm not going to leave
Right.
anything to my grandchildren because they think they're a lost cause. They look at them and they're not. There's no connection already. So why would I leave something to
Right.
somebody that I'm not connected to? It has to be where, like, and I use my grandfather for instance. My grandfather was connected to us. He knew all his grandchildren. He did things with us. He knew us. He spent time with us. So he was connected to everything that took place in our lives. He talked to us, and the cool thing about it was he didn't treat us the same. All of us were individuals to him. So he invested that time into his family. But nowadays, you can't even get a grandma to be a grandma. You can't get a granddad to be a granddad because everybody is so busy trying to do what it is that they want to do. Forget investing. You don't even want to invest time. I'm too busy. I don't have time to call. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. You got 60-year-old and 70-year-olds. They still trying to snap back with the snap cap and all of that, trying to be cool. So
That's gonna be me. I'm sorry.
they don't have time to do
Mm.
that. So they're definitely not going to make an investment. They're not even thinking that way. So when we talk about investing in the second or the third generation, there's not even an investment of time.
Mhm.
Nevertheless, an investment of anything else.
Yeah, for that principle to work, you have to teach your children what you're doing so that they
Yes.
do the same thing, so they understand the process of what we're trying to do for as far as a legacy. Other than that, they just really gonna waste money. Both sides are gonna waste money. There has to be something invested other than just money, like you said, time, and you begin to create a legacy in the earth. So
No, not Latin people. Oh, you said they don't complain. They do not complain. They'll take the jobs.
Yeah.
They're taking them jobs.
But even that, when we invest in our own, we have to trust. That goes back to the trust. We have to trust each other. We don't trust each other. We'll fight against our own, and we are our biggest hindrance from getting ahead because we so busy fighting against our own. We won't
Mhm.
go. We don't want to go certain places and work. And then when you do get that job, be the best worker you can be.
Exactly.
If you go on that job, and I'm gonna tell you, I say it all the time. If no, if and I'm just gonna say this: if I got an African American boss, I should want to make my boss look good because I'm African American. We don't think like that. We'll show out. We'll fight against. We'll act right. We'll tear down. We'll pull weed. We go through the whole entire. It's like, and it's your own people. Oh, she thinks she this, she. But if it's the other race of people, they don't have to go through that.
I
And
can't, V, I can't always say that that's true.
Right.
But I would say this. Where I currently work, my entire team, let me make sure that I'm looking. 99% of my team is black right now.
okay.
It's the first time in my professional career I've ever been somewhere where my entire team is 99% black.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because of the fact that we realized the importance of standing up for each other and being there for each other. For the past 2 years, we've all received the highest awards for our directorate
Wow. That's
for
awesome.
the past 2 years.
And
When
can
I
I just interject though? But you got to look at the industry that you're in.
no,
Certain, certain.
no,
No,
no, I can't agree with that because of the fact that I've been places where I've had black supervisors and where that they did not they did not try to mentor you or try to assist you in
Mm.
in your own professional development. When you've gone to them and you sought out advice from them, they have not been there to help you. And I have been one of those that I'm just a natural go getter. I'm natural with it. And I believe that came from my dad, the extra tutelage of my dad, because he's always telling me, son, nothing in his life is free. Whatever that you want in his life, you got to go do it. But I also want you to do it legally, and then I always want you to be better than I am. And my mom used to always say, son, my only goal is for you is to be the best at whatever it is that you do. So that's where mine came from. But I've run across and had all black leadership, and that all black leadership was like, "Why are you doing this? You don't need to be doing this. You don't need to be doing it." Especially when I'm telling them what my career goals are. I've been stomped on by more blacks than I have whites, and
oh,
that's just
absolutely.
and and that's just, and I know everybody's story is going to be different, but for me, this is the very first time in my professional career, and I'm speaking of from military to my civilian career, that I've ever been in an environment that that the black culture that I'm a part of is remarkable, and um and it's unique, and I think for me is that it makes me proud to make my to to make my um two senior black executives look good. Um it's I take pride in making my co-workers look good. I even take pride in making my subordinates look good.
But I have to say that it's still sometimes it's demographics, and it's also depending on the job industry, because when you talk about certain jobs, and I get what you're saying, but when you look at certain jobs, especially when it's lower paying, people look at that. They don't look at, and I'll use an example. They don't look at, okay, the company is saying that if I get this education and I do this, then I'll have an opportunity to do this, this, and this. In their mind, they stay right here. And then they want to complain because they feel like they should get something that they haven't earned. See,
Okay.
everything is you earn. So you have to have, if you have a supervisor that comes on board and we're the same race, and I'm not going to discriminate against anybody, but I am going to say that if I hire you and I say to you, okay, what is it, where do you want to go in this industry? Do you want to stay here or do you want to go here? Because it depends on where you want to go. And I'm saying in certain industries, especially when you talk about working in fast foods and you talking about working at some of the like Amazon and all of those places, a lot of people do not think that they can go from here to here. They don't have that kind of vision. They don't see themselves as going from being a teacher to a director. They see themselves at the bottom. I got people that's been working for me, that have been working for companies that still, they done made about $1 more in 20 years because they didn't have a vision. And no matter how much you push them, no matter how much you say you have opportunity, they don't
contend
see
where they
themselves
are.
going
Right.
any further.
Now,
So that's all I'm saying is
but then, Yvonne, with that, you have to also realize this, and I'm going to use scripture for this. The word says that we will always have the poor among us, right? That's what the word says. I also realize that you can show people the whole plan to be whatever level that they desire to be at. But if the person don't want to make that step, you can only do. But what's that saying? Is that you can only take a that is
You
that
can
you're
take
gonna
a
take
horse to the water, but you can't
to
make
the
him
water,
drink.
but you can't make him drink.
Yes.
You know, that's actually true. So when I look at it, and I take it back, even when I was in the military has a straight plan on from one rank to the next. It has every step into what you need to do to go from one rank to the next. I had subordinates under me that filed EO complaints against me because I was trying to help them in their own career, trying to help them to get to where I was, but for them, it was not something that they wanted. So I had to realize that, okay, so if this is not something that they want, I can't force them.
Exactly.
So, and even in my professional career, I see people that are just like, no, this is all I want to do. Some people just don't want that level of responsibility, no matter how good that they are, or even at how great of job that they do. They refuse to want that. And the other point I want to make, but I wonder how many black folks that work at McDonald's actually go to the McDonald's University and actually succeed through the McDonald's University.
That because you are African American, that you owe them something. They say it all, they do it all the time. They feel like, oh, well, my boss is black, so I can do what I want to do because they black, she ain't gonna fire me. Oh, it doesn't work that way. They have a disrespect to their own people who's trying to, yes, I will work with you to get you ahead, but you got to respect yourself. You can't break the rules because you have a black manager. You still have to give the same respect that you would give to anybody else. And that is very, very hard for a lot of people because they go back to, now people think, oh, well, we're in the same race. No, you got other races, though, they don't think that way. They don't think that way. They'll work hard. They'll go out there and they'll bust their tail and they'll build that business and they'll make that business and they'll do it at the lower level. Oh, you need me to clean the bathroom? Oh, you need me to wash some hair? You need me to do this? But our people, it's like they'll see opportunity, but they'll take advantage of the opportunity instead of really taking advantage of the real opportunity that this person can. And it's something that, and I want to give, because I know y'all see him, I want to give a major shout out because I ain't seen this man in years. Hey, Steve.
Bishop just talked about him Wednesday. He brought him up.
Yes, so I want to give a shout out to Steve, and he said it's also how you were raised and respect, and the respect we have for one another. But he said it also starts in the church, and that is true. We think that even in the church is not that level of disrespect, because I'm gonna tell you something. I've been in churches, and I'm gonna say it. You'll see somebody Caucasian that come in, and we'll get excited because you got one Caucasian person that done walked up in the building, and you be ready to make him a deacon. You be ready to give him a mic. You be ready to have him be over the usher board. He can be over the board of directors and everything else because of his color. That is the only reason why you see him in those positions. But if we, on the other hand, go to a Caucasian church, they're not going to do that for us. I'm sorry.
That's about it.
And I've been to both.
Oh, and you know what? And it's really sad because you have Black people who will sit under white pastors, but then you have Black people who don't want to sit up underneath Black pastors.
Yes.
You know, but and they gladly serve. But
That is
to
so
add,
true.
it
It's
is,
true.
and we have that. We do have that problem. And then I think about and what Pastor Davis had said, and then I want to say also what Minister Isaac said. You know, yes, it would be nice if it could start in the church. Once upon a time ago, in Black communities and
It did
neighborhoods
start
and
in
in
the
the
church.
churches, right? Okay, if your child is acting up and I see that, then I'm going to discipline your child. Then I'm going to take your child to you to let them know. And it was like whatever they said it went. But nowadays we can't even correct other people's kids.
Nope.
Oh, what's wrong with my kid? Oh, why are you talking to my kid like that? No, it's only me who can. You know, it's even when you try to build that bond, sometimes there are going to be people who fight against it when you do have, and we're not saying that this is everybody, we're not lumping all Black
Right.
people into the category. It's just some people, and it's just sad that when you do have African American Black people who want to get ahead, you will have others who don't want to see them get ahead. And it's really sad because some Black people have our thinking and what we're saying to build up, but then you have the others who thinking, no, I'm not going to let you get ahead. If I can't get ahead, then you're not going to get ahead. You know, but if we could all come together and be united, you know,
Yes.
and then don't have no hidden innuendos, you know, it would be so nice and we could move a lot further. And I like that Black history is coming up. And one thing I really do appreciate, something that we are trying to do, is we're trying to get more and more Black people to buy from Black businesses. However, something that you said too, Lady V, a lot of times we're like, oh no, I'm not buying from that. But okay, let me say this. You do have, and I remember what you said too, Pastor AT, you do have Black people who charge maybe a lot more than other businesses. And so here it is. I'm trying to support you. However, you want to sell this to me for what? When the
Your price
same
is so
exact
outrageous.
thing, right? When the same exact thing or better, I can get here at a cheaper price. You know, if we would try not to gouge or try to get over on one another, I think that could also benefit us moving forward in businesses.
Yes.
So
You know,
Melanie,
you know
is
that
it,
you know that's a very valid point, because for the last 2 years I have been on um buy Black for the past 2 years. And
Oh,
there are some stores that I've gone to, and I'm like, are you serious? Are you really serious? The prices are so out there at times, and it upsets me because I want to support you, but your prices are crazy. But then Pastor T did make a great point. Also, some of these black owned businesses don't have the connects. They can't get the discounts that some of these other folks are getting. So their prices do have to be a little bit higher because of the fact they have to cover the cost for the same material that somebody else is paying 5 cents for, but they paying 75 cents for.
oh,
So
can I?
look,
Sorry.
that is a factor too.
Dr.
Oh,
Bennett has
can?
something to say
Oh,
real
I'm
quick.
sorry. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead,
Okay, go
Dr.
ahead.
Bennett.
I just wanted to say, years ago, the great big organization of Kojic had promised Saint City, and that was supposed to be something for black, for African Americans. They were supposed to have a college and anything that we possibly needed. It never happened. It never happened. All that money from the convocations and all of that, it never happened. And now some of those people that were supposed to put it in place are dead and gone. And the baton was not passed. It never happened. So we do have to connect. And someone said something about we don't have African Americans sometimes don't have the advantage of connecting to get these discounts. Well, you have to, especially if you're a Christian, you have to pray, because I have to do that with my business. And because of the way I operate, making sure that I do know that a lot of African Americans, white, Caucasian people, Asians, and whomever cannot afford out of pocket, I make sure my rates are, can accommodate them, and it works. But I've had people tell me, hit that internet, because you're black, it don't matter. I have more white clients now than I do African American.
That's awesome. And this is something else I was going to say, because I thought about, I actually went to a black business owner, and I was like, because I had the option, I could have gone to an Asian or I could have gone to a black when I got my eyebrows done, the microblading. And I was like, no, I prefer to go to the black lady. However, there are sometimes black businesses don't practice
There you go.
good customer service
Yes.
to
Yeah.
one another.
Yes.
They're late. They may not know how to talk to you. Or while they're working on you, they're talking on the phone, or it's like their business practices or tardy.
It's
And
because
it's
they don't have a
like,
mentor sometimes too.
And they're not,
and that's
they don't, they're not presenting themselves in a way where you want them. Like a beautician, I will not go to a beautician if her hair is not done. Will not.
right. No,
You
and
can't
I
do my
totally
hair and come
no.
in a do-rag. No. Wrong shot.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. Now, don't get me wrong. She did, and you're right. The lady who did my eyebrows did an awesome job. However,
It's
because
true.
I agree with you. No, Dr. Bennett, I
It's
totally,
true.
totally agree with
Pastor Mel, I
you.
went to a nail shop once where and like Lady V said, you don't have to go to the Asian. I went to a nail shop once where it was African American, and her nails were dirty. I got up
Oh
and walked
wow.
out.
In Northern VA, they have a all black. Well,
Hmm.
it's a black owned um nail
Hmm.
salon that sit in Old Town.
Oh,
Um,
wait. Oh,
Yeah, they
I didn't
do.
know about
They
that.
do.
yes, it's in Old Town. I cannot remember the name of it, but the nuance is nice. It's an all black staff, everything.
Mm.
And it's a beautiful place. Matter of fact, I need to go back and actually
And
and
it's
actually
actually very
franchise it.
affordable. They have one
Yes,
thing I
and they
like
are
about
affordable. That's true.
Newport News is they do have a lot of black owned businesses here too, nail shops and things of that nature. But the thing is, like you said, customer service is everything. I don't have to give you my money
Quality,
because
too.
I'm black and you're black. I want you to
That's
give me the highest. If I'm gonna pay you $200 to do my hair, I want my hair to be done, and I want
That's right.
$200 worth
That's
of a
right.
hairdo.
That's
So
right.
a lot of times people, they take, we have to look at it where, you know, and it irritates me because when I go to your shop and you give me a 9 o'clock window, I
say it.
expect you to be there at
Mhm.
9 o'clock. I don't want to
Say
wait
it.
for you to get, and then when you get there, you on your cell phone and you're
Yeah.
doing the most. And now I gotta sit there and I gotta listen to who you talking to, and you arguing
Fussing
with
with your
your
baby
baby daddy,
daddy.
you doing all the other stuff. I don't want to do all. I just want to come in and get good customer service. And something Pastor AT said, you know, a lot of times they need to go to school and
Yes.
get trained. They need to take some
Yes. They
training
need
classes
training.
because that's the key thing.
Mhm.
Training is great, but you have to do the work of researching and finding cheaper prices. You also
Say
have
it.
to do the work to a positive customer
That's
service.
true.
We also have to search our people's business to find the one we like and can spend our money with. Don't quit. Do it till you find the right black business. And that's
Can
I
I,
agree.
let me
I
flip. I got a
agree.
question. I just got a question because I'm about to flip this thing upside down real quick. I know we're closing. Now, we started this thing with the majority of the group saying all lives matter, right? But we end this thing talking about support black businesses. So pick one. I want you to pick one. Either all lives matter or I can pick. I can go to any business I want, or I just got to go to black businesses. So what are we
Pastor
doing?
AT, I'll say it like this: all lives do matter, but all lives don't matter to everybody.
Say
That's
it.
right.
True.
right.
That's
Very
All
right.
true.
lives
I should
don't matter
I should
to
be able to shop
There
everybody.
you
wherever I
go.
want to. No, I'm just
They
messing.
don't.
But I want us
They
to think
don't.
about that stuff when we say certain things. We say, you know, let's focus on all that matter and don't do the black lives that matter, and then we focus on all the black lives for shopping.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's consider that
And
piece.
when
Well,
we
no,
say,
no,
and
no.
I think
But
that the thing
that
is
is
when
how
we
we got
say that
there.
all lives matter, we want it to be where there's opportunity and for everyone, the
For
same
everyone. That's right.
Right.
opportunity that is
Right.
afforded in the Asian community. We
Right.
want it to be where it's afforded in the Jewish community and in the Italian community. We want it to also be in the black community. But we have to become something Derek said. We gotta do the research. We gotta not assume that we don't have those same opportunities. Why can't I open up my own business and it be just as successful? And just like you go to Chinatown and you see all the stores in Chinatown, you ain't never gonna go to Chinatown and see no black store, no Jewish
That's
store.
right.
It's all Chinese. It's all Chinatown. Well, why can't we have a black strip? Why can't we have a strip of the town where it's all black owned? We have the same opportunity, but we got to do the research. We got to figure out how do we have our flea markets where everything is set up before our people, where we have they can go to a place where they can get their nails done, their feet done, they can get their hair they want, they can get whatever they're trying to get, they can get it all in that one little community. That's the only thing I'm saying, because you can go anywhere else and you can find that except for our people. So when we say Black Lives Matter, we want everybody to know that all lives matter, but we all have to know that we got to embrace opportunity. And when we don't do research and we don't embrace opportunity, then we miss it. A lot of times we're just missing it because we're so caught up in, well, they're not going to do. Well, how do you know they're not going to do? Like Dr. Bennett said, you don't know what who's going to come your way. You don't know who's going to make that phone call and ask you, hey, you know what? How much do I get to for me to do my for me to get this done? We don't know that, but until we come out of our comfort zone and we research, because they got to do the research, they got to find the distributors. Do you know how much money, Pastor Mel and Mom, we can make selling weed? Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know where I can find a weed distributor to find some hair so I can sell some hair.
Right,
Because you know
right.
what? This a money-making business. But you know what? It's not something that we will go and we'll give these people $400 for some hair instead of trying to figure out how can I go wholesale this and buy it and sell it at a reasonable price to my own people.
Right.
But to put a cap on that, all lives matter. When we do venture out and we are trained to open up our own business, all lives do matter. We can't hire someone just because they're African American
Exactly.
if they don't have what it takes to to flourish our business. If a white person comes along or an Asian person comes along, interview them. If they have what we need, go for it. So all lives matter in that regard.
My dream is that at some point, I heard everything everybody said, right? But at some point, that we won't have separate communities. You'll be able to go to your Asian nail shop, your black weave shop, the white person doing their thing or whatever, are all in the same community, because that will let me know that at that point, all lives do matter, and it's not going to matter what you look like or who you are per se, as far as your skin color, but the contents of your character and who you are.
Right.
We can all
the key.
really be right next to each other.
That's good.
I see all these stores when there's no strip, when there's no, you got a strip, I got a strip. There's no Chinatown. There's no Black Wall Street. There's just, hey, we all live here. We're multicultural.
Right.
That's my dream. That's when I know.
I know that's
Lady
right.
B said something that's real key too. She said in the Chinese, in Chinatown, you see all Chinese stations or Chinese whatever. When African Americans do go into business, you need to be diversified. Like if you're gonna have a restaurant and you're open up a restaurant as an African American, you need to know how to put together the filter fish and both and all that kind of stuff, so you can draw some other people. So that's another regard where all lives do matter. You need to learn how to cook Jewish dishes, Asian dishes, everything. Not just soul food. Don't label it soul food. Label it all food.
All food matters.
All food matters.
Dr. Isaac, you have any final words?
I think that Pastor AT hit it right on the head until we get to the point to where we diversify everything. And at that moment, that's when all lives matter.
Right.
Pastor Mel?
Yes, be willing to help one another, not tear them down.
Dr. Bennett?
Lift up the hands of somebody else, and someone will come along and lift up your hands.
Ooh, yes.
Pastor AT?
Realize that the person who you talking to today is your cousin, and you don't treat family bad. You take care of your family. You love your family. That's your cousin. Well, they just, as Jane Elliott said that white people are just Africans that have lost their tan. They still African.
I have heard that. I heard that.
When you start looking at it like that, it'll change your whole aspect on race and how you look at human beings.
You stop categorizing people. It's true.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Well, you have been watching Breaking the Silence, and this has been a really great topic because this is our kickoff to for next month on we're going to talk about racism in the world today. And so I want all of our viewers to stay tuned. Please come and make your comments and join the discussion because it's going to be a really great month. We've been talking about today, all lives matter, and all lives really do matter. So, just in what's going on today, everybody is going through it. It's not just Black, not just white, not just Asian, it's everybody. And so when you're out there, make sure you encourage your Asian brother, your Jewish brother, your Italian brother and sister, because the bottom line is we have to rely on each other to make this world a better place. So I am your host. We have Yvonne Bennett, Dr. Isaac Davis, we have Pastor AT, and we have Pastor Mel. And you have been watching Breaking the Silence. We come on every single Tuesday at 6:00 p.m. And until next Tuesday, always remember that you have a voice. Good night, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Right.
See you
Y'all take
next
care.
week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.